All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS and Shalom. To you brothers pushing this truth in sincerity. I'm Karat Zabbar, back on another show. In this show, I'm going to entitle The Salvation of Israel. All right? Because, people don't understand that, what is the salvation of the Lord. Okay, you got these people, the world, the majority of the world, especially amongst these Christians, they believe that, salvation is to all nations. That some white man named Jesus Christ is gonna come back with long hair and blue eyes and save the whole world. But they err not knowing the scriptures. Okay, first of all, the Lord is not no cracker. All right, he's a so-called black man, according to the scriptures, describe him to be. Okay, and he's coming back to deliver his people because the whole world does not need salvation. All right, but Israel needs salvation. Why? Because Israel is the ones that's oppressed unto this day. Israel is the ones that's ruled over by their enemies. Okay, and that's why Yahweh Shah is going to return and deliver Israel from out of the hands of the enemies, which are these heathen nations. All right, and that main enemy being the so-called white man, which is Esau, according to the Bible, the devil. Okay, under the hands of the so-called white man. To this day, from us being brought over here on cargo slave ships. All right, and the rest of the tribes, which has been oppressed by the so-called white man and the rest of these heathens. So Yahweh Shah, he has to return, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. He's going to return and bring salvation to his people, which is, starting with the elect. Okay. So we're going to jump right into the scriptures. First scripture I want to get is Luke chapter 1. I start from verse 68 and it read, "Blessed be the Lord, power of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people." Yeah, so it said he had visited and redeemed his people. Okay, we know redeem meaning to buy something back. All right, and that's the whole purpose of, Yahweh Shah coming on the scene, to bring the whole nation of Israel back into the Most High. Because we know that all Israel wasn't together, at this time. The Most High separated Israel into two nations. Okay, which you had the house of Israel and you had the house of Judah and the house of Israel. But ultimately, the house of Israel, the Most High would do away from being his people, and he would only dealing with the house of Judah. But Yahweh Shah, through Yahweh Shah, all the tribes is brought back to him in faith in Yahweh Shah. Okay? So, and ultimately, Yahweh Shah died for the whole nation of Israel. All right? So it says, "Blessed be the Lord, power of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people, and have raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us." And that's right. So this salvation is for the nation of Israel. And how's that salvation is going to come into play? Because we're going to be delivered out of the hand of our enemies, which are the rest of the nations that are in the world that is, that have rulership over the house of Israel. All right, to this very day. Because throughout history, we done been through we have been through various captivities. Every nation on the planet Earth have put us into slavery. All right. In this last captivity that we're in now, we are pretty much still under this the captivity under the so-called white man. Okay. Because this is the white man's world. He makes the rules, he sets the laws, and we have to follow that. His laws of unrighteousness. So when Yahweh Shah return, he's going to take the so-called white man down and the rest of these heathen nations and set up a righteous earth and set us up in the kingdom where we're going to be ruling in righteousness. All right. So it says, let's read that verse again. Luke 1:71 says that we should be saved from our enemies. So that's salvation, us being saved from our enemies and from the hand of all and from the hand of all that hate us. Yeah, and these heathen nations, they hate us. Okay, especially the so-called white man. That's why Jake don't understand why they still experience racism unto this day. Why? Because it's in their spirit to hate us. Okay, it's in their spirit to hate us. Why? Because they're the devil, and they know that we are the true chosen people of the Most High. Okay, they know, these nations know that the Lord's people are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and these nations want to do away with us. Real quick, let's go to the book of Psalms 83. All right, this is the book of Psalms 83. Start from the top, and it reads, a song or psalm of Asaph. It says, keep not thou silence, O Most High. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Most High. It says, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee, it says, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Right. So, and who are the enemies, man? That's pretty much plotting against the Lord's people, the heathen nations. All right, outside of Israel, starting with Esau, the so-called white man. All right. Verse 4 says, they have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. And that says the tabernacles of Edom. Yeah, which is the so-called white man. So he's the head, man, that have conspired against us and want to do away with us. And that's, through his system, man, getting us to go off, descend against the power, destroying us with the ghetto, with our, the neighborhoods we living in, pushing drugs in our community, cops shooting Jake, all right, putting GMO foods in our community. So Esau has a whole plot against us, and how he always constantly thinking of ways to, destroy us, all right? But he can't destroy us because the Most High have preserved his people, and the elect of them is going to be delivered when Yahweh Shah returns. But it says the tabernacles of Edom, which is the so-called white man, and the Ishmaelites, those Arabs of Moab. And who was Moab? The Chinese, okay? And it says in the Hagarenes, which, those Arabs also. It says Gabal and Ammon, which is those Hamitic tribes, all right? And Amalek. And who's Amalek? The so-called Jews today, which is the the chief of the Edomites, and the ones that rule in the world in wickedness today, the so-called Jews. All right. And we know what it speaks about. Amalek was the first to, oppress us coming out of Egypt, man. And the Most High, has sworn that, at the end, and, Amalek gonna get that destruction. All right, you read that in Numbers. So the Most High got the number of all these nations, and their judgment is waiting upon them to come when Yahweh Shah returns. Okay, it says the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, which is also Hamites. Okay, Ashur also joined with them, those Assyrians, they have hope in the children of Lot, Salah, right? So, um, yeah. So pretty much these heathen nations, they're conspiring against the children of Israel. All right, they all have a plot to keep us on the bottom because they know that we are the children of the Most High. All right, they know that we are the children of the Most High, and they fear us coming back into power because when we come back into power, these nations cannot stand a chance when the Lord is with us. So they're trying to do everything in their power to keep us away from the Most High. So the Most High wouldn't defend us. But we in a time where, look, the Most High is awakening us back to this knowledge and that the salvation is soon to come. Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 14. Psalms 14:7, it says, "Oh, that the salvation of Israel will come out of Zion." Yeah, so see, the salvation of Israel will come out of Zion. So that's who the salvation is for. The Israelites. He is the prince of the power. Israel. Zion meaning monument or to remember. So the Lord, he's gonna remember his people. All right? Because what? Well, with all these thousands of years of us going into these various captivities and us pretty much being drawn away from the Most High, the Most High is still going to remember his people and bring us back to him at the end. So it says, "Oh, that the salvation of Israel will come out of Zion when the Lord bringeth back the captivity of his people." Yeah, so the Lord bringeth back the captivity, all right, or pull the captivity back from off of us, all right. So that's what salvation is. The Lord pulling the captivity off of us. That's upon us now. It says, "When the Lord bringeth back the captivity of his people, Jacob shall rejoice and Israel shall be glad." Right? It didn't say all nations. It didn't say all nations going to rejoice when salvation come. Jacob shall rejoice and Israel shall be glad. Why? Because we're gonna be delivered out of the hands of our enemies through Yahushua, and our enemies is gonna go into captivity. We're gonna be ruling over them. All right. So we the ones that's gonna be glad in that day. All right, let's go back to Luke 1. Okay, Luke 1:71 again. It says that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all them that hate us, to perform the mercies promised to our fathers, and to remember his holy covenant, the oath which he, Salaki says, the oath which he sware to our father Abraham. Yeah, that's what it's all about, man. Because the Most High made promises with our forefathers. Okay, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So the Most High, he's gonna perform his oath, ultimately at the end. And the Most High ain't make no promises to no heathen nations. Okay, the Most High ain't make those promises to no heathens. He only made those promises to the forefathers of Israel. Okay, and he's going to perform those promises. And the oath which he have swear to our father Abraham. He made an oath with Abraham. And let's go find out what that is. Let's go to Genesis chapter 22. Start from verse 16. And it reads, "And said, by myself have I sworn, and said the Lord, for because thou hast done this thing, and has not withheld thy son, thy only son." Yeah, because Abraham was offered up Isaac to be sacrificed. All right, the Most High told him to sacrifice Isaac, and he was going to do it. But ultimately, the angel of the Lord stopped him from sacrificing him. But the Lord it was a test of faith. And Abraham passed the test of faith. And now the Lord is going to bless him for passing that test of faith. All right. Now it says, verse 17, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven. And that's talking about Israel. The Most High was going to multiply the nation of Israel upon the earth. Okay. And it says, and as the sand which is upon the seashore, and thy seed shall possess the gate. It says, and thy seed shall possess the gate of thy enemies. Yeah, so Israel is going to possess the heathen nations and their substance. Okay, so that's a part of the blessings that the Most High gave to Abraham, that Israel is going to possess their enemies' possessions and the enemies themselves. Now it says, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. Right, so and I see all the nations of the earth be blessed, which is talking about the Israelites that is what? That's scattered. Okay? The Israelites that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. They gonna be blessed with what? This faith and this knowledge. Okay? But ultimately the Most High is gonna give the kingdom of Israel unto Israel. All right? The Most High is gonna give the kingdom of heaven unto Israel. And in the kingdom of heaven, that's when we're going to possess our enemies. All right. You can read about that in the book of Isaiah, Isaiah the 61st chapter. Okay. So that's what salvation consists of. Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, ruling in the kingdom over the heathen nations. Okay. Let's go back to Luke. Luke 1. Luke 174 says that he would grant unto us. It says that he would grant unto us that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear. Right. So Israel is gonna receive salvation. The elect of Israel gonna receive salvation, delivered from our enemies, and our enemies is gonna be put into slavery. Okay. And we're gonna serve the Most High. All right, without fear, without being in fear of our enemies anymore. We're gonna serve the Most High in holiness and righteousness. And the Most High is gonna and it's gonna be a joyous day for us. Okay? Because we will no longer be going back into captivity. We will no longer be ruled over by our enemies. It says in holiness and righteousness before him all the days of our life. Yeah, for eternity, man. We're going to forever serve the Lord. Okay? From there, let's go to the book of Jeremiah. I believe it's 16. Jeremiah 16:14, it says, therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord liveth, that bringeth up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. Right, because that was the first major deliverance or salvation. Okay, when the Lord delivered Israel out of the hand of Egypt. Okay, through, by the hand of Moses. Verse 15 says, but the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north. Yeah, and that land of the north is talking about here in North America, all right, which is Babylon, a.k.a. America. So the Lord's going to deliver us out of this land, and that's through Yahweh Shah when he returns with the chariots, the so-called UFOs. And it says, and from all the lands whither he have driven them, right, because Israel is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, through the various captivities over the past pretty much over 2,000 years, man. Us going into various captivities. And I will bring them again unto their land that I gave unto their fathers. Right, so the Lord's going to bring us again into our land, back into the land of Israel. And that's the salvation, us going back home. You can read about that in Isaiah 14th chapter. Us going back to our homeland, which is the land of Israel. And we're going to take these nations as slaves and put them in captivity. But from there, let's get one more scripture. Let's go to Jeremiah 30. This is Jeremiah 30. I start from 16 and it reads, Therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. Right. So all these nations that have ruled over us and devoured us, we're going to devour them. Okay. And we're going to put them in captivity. All these nations that put us into captivity, we're going to put them in captivity. All right. See how the so-called white man had us in the land of America as slaves. In the land of Israel, when we're ruling, we're going to have him as slaves. Okay. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. Yeah, so we're gonna be preying upon these nations as they preyed upon us. And it reads, For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds. Yeah, so the Lord is gonna restore health and heal us, man. The Most High is gonna cleanse us of our sins. All our pains and sorrows, the Lord is going to take away. And we know the Lord is going to make us perfect by changing our bodies, giving us those angelic bodies that can never sin. All right. And that's ultimately how we're going to be healed. Cleansed from our sins by us getting those incorruptible bodies. Okay. That can never die. That can never experience pain and sorrow anymore. And it reads, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Lord, because they called thee an outcast, saying, This is Zion, whom no man seeketh after. Right? So the Lord gonna heal us of our wounds, man. And look at how the nations the nations look down upon us. They look at the conditions that we living in. Look at the average Jake, man. They just gone. Us living in the ghettos, us, filling in the prison systems, us gang banging, the women are whores, sluts, and, Jake strung out on drugs and always drunk in front of the alcohol store, So we at the bottom as a people, all right? But guess what? The Lord is going to heal us from all of that. And make us a nation of kings and priests. Okay, we're gonna be gods on the earth. We're gonna be men of renown again. On a high status. So that's how. So the Lord is gonna take us from this condition of us being on the bottom and put us right back on high. So it reads. Thus, verse 18, Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tent, and have mercy on his dwelling places, and the city shall be builded up upon her heaps. Right, so the Lord is going to bring us out of this captivity. Okay, and our land is going to be built back up, because, our land was destroyed, and you got heathens possessing that land right now. But the Lord's going to remove those heathens out of there, burn them up in that day of judgment. And we going back over to that land. And these heathen nations, they're going to, as slaves, they're going to build up our land. They're going to build back up our mansions and things like that, for us to dwell in. All right. And it says, And the palace shall remain after the manner thereof. Yeah, so once once Jerusalem is built back up, it ain't gonna be destroyed no more. We're gonna dwell in that land safely for eternity. Okay. And it says, and out of them shall proceed thanksgiving and the voice of them that make merry. Right? So when we get in our land, we're going to be what? We're going to be praising the Lord. We're going to be praising the Lord, with songs, okay? For us receiving salvation, man. Giving thanks unto the Lord, Yahweh Shah, for redeeming us and giving us the kingdom. And I will multiply them, and they shall not be few. I will also glorify them, and they shall not be small. Right? So yeah, the Lord is gonna multiply us and give us glory, man. As he promised Abraham to multiply his seed. So we never gonna receive death anymore. We're gonna live forever, man. The Lord is gonna take pleasure in his nation. All right. So pretty much. Oh yeah, so I can read 20. It says, "Their children also shall be as aforetime, and their congregation shall be established before me, and I will punish all that oppress them." Right, so we're going back into how things were, man. The Lord is going to dwell with us, beautify us, multiply us, and all the nations that have oppressed us, they're gonna be punished. Okay, so and that's what the kingdom of heaven consists of: punishments upon the nations and salvation, and joy and happiness to the nation of Israel. All right. Which we are patiently waiting for. When Yahweh Shah returns, he's gonna issue in the kingdom. Okay. So with that, I hope the brothers learn something. I'm gonna say all praises due to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rakak Kodash, double honors to the apostles of GMS, and Shalom to the elect. Shalom.